Well, I reckon that this is a perfect time to do 73 questions with Adele. To pinch myself that this is actually happening right now.
How are you?
I'm doing so much better now that I'm with you.
Me too, I'm so excited.
I know, I think we've been trying to do this for a long time.
6, 7 years. Here we go.
7 years, let's get into it.
Okay.
How is Adele doing these days?
I'm great. I'm really great. I'm excited. I'm about to put my new album out.
And I'd assume that that's the number one thing you're most excited about in life right now.
It is, and that's why you're here.
That is the reason I'm here, and it's so good to see you in hot and sunny Los Angeles.
It is, typical Brit, wearing a tracksuit in this, 90-degree weather.
It's okay, you look great.
Thank you.
And how has Los Angeles and the States been treating you these days?
Great. I've loved being here. I'm very calm.
The past year has been challenging.
It has.
Has there been one thing you've learned during this time?
Just how much of a homebody I am, and I probably would never leave my house if I didn't need to.
And I ask this question on behalf of fans everywhere.
Okay.
When are we going to see you next live or in concert on tour?
As soon as possible. I'm ready to go, really. It's just up to COVID, so just keep on wearing your mask and don't be spreading that Delta, and who knows?
Let me help you with that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I think we should dive into your childhood.
Oh, I'd love that.
Let's do it. How did you realize that you had a great voice?
I guess because I got signed. My favourites are, brilliant, so I don't really rate myself as a singer.
Is your mom musical?
She's she's a fan of music, so yeah.
And you did a Camden crawl and you toured small London pubs.
I did.
What was your favorite venue to play when you first started gigging?
Probably Madame Jojo's. I played there a few times, plus all my friends used to play there as well.
Do you think you still remember the Hotspurs chant?
Oh, yes. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur, and the Spurs go marching on.
The crowd goes wild.
Okay.
Were you nervous to put your music up on MySpace way back then?
I actually didn't do that. That was my friend Lyndon. So no, I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't?
Yeah.
And do you remember who any of your top 8 friends were?
I mean, that's 12, 13 years ago.
Come on.
Definitely Jack Pignate.
Yeah.
Definitely Jamie T, Kid Harpoon. Let me grab that from you.
Thank you.
Definitely Laura Marling. Definitely Lily Allen, because she was the queen of MySpace at the time. Probably a bit of Scroobius Pip. Maybe the Maccabees. How many is that, 6? I'm not entirely sure.
Have you ever considered a different stage name all this time?
No, because my surname is so boring. It's Adkins.
Okay, this is a beautiful, beautiful home. It's so cozy.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I tried to make it feel like a little English countryside.
Yeah, I feel like I'm there. And what's been the most surprising aspect of living as a Brit in America?
That my sarcastic humour doesn't actually travel.
What's an unexpected similarity between London and Los Angeles?
Tea and coffee culture.
What do Americans do that's different than Brits?
You have your own funky language for things, like this is actually coriander, not cilantro, and your eggplants are actually aubergines. Your movie theatres we call cinemas, your candy we call sweets. Right. Kind of the list is kind of endless, really.
There's a lot to keep track of.
There is.
So am I looking at a typical grocery run from Adele?
Yes and no. This looks super duper healthy because I'm making a vegetable soup tonight. But normally, there's some cereal, some sugar cereal for my son, and stringy cheese he loves, and milkshakes and things like that. But kind of, yeah, I watch what I put into my body these days.
What do you miss more, Tesco or Sainsbury's?
Well, I'd say Tesco simply because that was the only supermarket that was in my neighbourhood when I was growing up. But actually, it's Marks and Spencer's.
All right, we're gonna go back in time. You're making your first album.
Okay.
19. What surprised you about professionally recording music back then?
I think how much I really enjoyed being in the studio environment, actually. Yeah.
And who in the crowd made you most nervous during your first TV appearance? Was it your mom or Sir Paul McCartney?
Without a doubt, it was Sir Paul McCartney.
Okay.
And at the end of the show that I did my first ever singing performance on, he sang Hey Jude. So it was incredible.
What a moment. And then there was SNL.
There was.
What was the scariest thing about performing live on SNL?
Live TV in America in general, but also I knew that a few extra people were tuning in because of Sarah Palin. So I definitely shat myself.
Yep, that happened. And you became a star. And how did you handle being recognized in public?
I don't love it, but ever since 21 sort of came out, really, my hair gets bigger, my makeup gets thicker, and my dresses get bigger so that I practically look a bald eagle or something like that in day-to-day life.
Do you mind if I take a gander at your bookshelf?
Oh my goodness, please do. There's some
great.
good ones up there.
Okay. What's the best movie that you've watched recently?
Probably Minari.
And do you think it's true that you can learn a lot about a person based on the books that they keep?
Well, I would say that, but I don't know that many people that have real books in their house anymore. They seem to have Kindles, or they just don't read at all, or on their phone, or something like that. So I'd say back in the day, yeah.
All right. Well, now we're 21 years old. You're recording the second album, 21.
Yes.
What did your diaries throughout the songwriting process look like then?
Drunk, chaotic, distressed, very, very sad. Yeah, along those lines.
And what did you do with them after the album was completed?
They are all hidden in a handbag somewhere in my wardrobe room in London, and I actually have no idea which one, so they could be missing for all I know.
That's good bonus material.
It is.
Which recording would you say challenged you the most?
Probably Don't You Remember, it was sort of my attempt at a country song. It starts super duper tender and soft, which I'm not brilliant at. By the end I'm wailing, which is way more my comfort zone. But I'd say Don't You Remember.
Yeah. And then there's your throat surgery.
It was.
I heard John Mayer offer some guidance after this procedure. What did he share with you?
He just, he was just sort of very encouraging to stay silent and be patient, and that actually my injury was a very common singer's injury, so not to worry too much about it. So yeah, he was great. He's such a sweetheart. I like him so much.
How would you describe the difference in your voice pre and post procedure?
It was definitely heading towards a Tom Waits sound that I had before my surgery, getting very, very husky. And afterwards, it was a brand new voice. It was so clean and pure, yeah.
Yeah. And would you ever release the alternate version of 21?
No, because if I wanted to do that, I would have done it already. So.
Fair point. Okay. So, fashion questions.
Okay.
Heels or slides?
Hate slides. It's got to be heels.
Bare feet or heels on stage?
Barefoot, so I don't fall over.
And what's your most iconic style moment?
Well, I would say probably my Armani moment in 2012 at the Grammys. Oh. And I was pregnant, so I just loved that dress.
Who's your fashion icon?
Kate Blanchett.
Who always gets it right on the red carpet?
Kate Blanchett.
Okay. And what do you never leave the house without wearing?
Hooped earrings.
Who makes your favorite eyeliner?
Pat McGrath.
And what fashion advice can you offer me right now?
Just keep on doing what you're doing. Comfort over style.
Thank you.
That's what I do too.
I appreciate that. And when you're making your third album, 25, you said that making this album was the hardest thing that you've ever done.
It was.
But what was the easiest song on the album to write?
Definitely Remedy. I think it's probably because it's about my son.
And what was the most valuable thing that you learned from producer Max Martin?
All about the hooks.
For anyone looking to write a killer pop song, what's the most important piece of advice to consider?
It's all about the hooks.
About the hooks, okay. And what was the biggest difference between working on 19, 21, and 25?
Well, 19, I hadn't long been signed, so I only had like 4 songs, so I had to actually really write an album, it felt like. 21, I couldn't stop writing it. It was just pouring out of me. I was such a hot mess. And then 25, I just didn't have time to write, really, so I just had a newborn baby, so not much. Let's go outside.
Okay, let's do it.
It's lovely out here.
Which venue was most intimidating or terrifying to perform?